What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arch. Like I've said, the connection's a little bad where I'm at right now, and I'm still trying to get you guys episodes. I know we missed an episode. I do apologize, but we're back today with some content, so I'm going to get you guys some more stuff out today. And the first thing I want to get you guys out is conversation I had with Stretch, who was talking to Nuggets Country on Instagram and was listening to the DMVR podcast, and what all the guys had to say about Jokic, especially with Eurobasket going on right now. And that is that Jokic is going to take one of two roles this upcoming season. Now, the one role that he's going to do is he stands under the basket as more of a scoring down low big, who's, obviously taking those mid-range shots and catching offensive rebounds and going right back up. And he averages 30-something points a game. And we see Jokic at the peak of his scoring when it comes to his offensive abilities. Or the other game that we see is Jokic dropping down to maybe 22, 23 points per game, but averaging 13 or 14 assists and having a career high in assists. There's two opportunities. This is a team for the Nuggets with the depth to just let the ball fly, realistically. These guys can shoot from the three, and that's something I've continued to cover. There's versatility in the lineup. Jokic is going to be fresh, so he'll be able to get have a break because of Val and Duran if Val is out or whatever the situation may be. So there's going to be two ways that we see Jokic. Now, I would love to see Jokic putting up the 30 points per game. If we see that, we do see a drop in his assists because he doesn't have to realistically be the playmaker for this team because there's actually people who can do just about everything. Cam is a guy who can be a playmaker for you now instead of MPJ being on the floor. Jamal is obviously a playmaker. AG, Christian Brown. Then you have on the bench, you have guys like Bruce, you have guys like Timmy. There's people who can now be playmakers for the Denver Nuggets, and it doesn't just have to be a guy like Nikola Jokic. And it's going to be great because, like I said, maybe we see that higher number in points per game for Jokic and the highest attempts per, from the floor per game that's not three-point attempts. We'll still see him shoot some threes, but I would love to see him be, played down low. And if you give him the ball in a low block, the assists are still going to be high because he could just dish it out and everybody on this team could shoot just about now. So I think that there are so many good things about how Denver can go about certain games. I know we said continuously multiple times that there's going to be a difference in how they set their lineups and their game plans for certain teams. So I'm interested to see how that works out because I think against a team like the Spurs, we don't see Jokic play down low almost at all because of Wemby and Cornet down there. You have two guys who are 7'3 plus playing down on the block and in the middle of the paint. So there's going to be a game where you see Jokic playing outside the mid-range more, and I think that's going to be one of the games strictly because of their paint presence and their defense down low. But like I said, I would love to see Jokic take the route of putting up 30 points per game and 9 assists, 8 assists, even if he has to drop down to 8. And Denver continues to just blow through the Western Conference. So that's something I would love to see. And I think that, like I said, it's going to be one or the other. I don't think there's going to be an in-between this year. Now, the next thing I want to cover is a potential roster update and if Denver should actually look into doing this. Now, like I said, these are all conversations I was having with people throughout the community. Stretch, Nuggets Country, who, if you guys are on Instagram, give him a follow. Super cool dude. We're all in a group chat together. There's, hundreds of people. And he's reliable. He breaks news for us, lets us know all his opinions and everything. And obviously, we all give our takes as well. But the one thing we were speaking about was somebody we talked about before, and that was Radmanovic from Serbia, point guard that everybody wants Denver to bring in. I know that it's not, might not be possible because he just signed a deal overseas. But we're also talking about the Kessler Edwards news and how we all felt about that. And he made a good point. He thinks that if Denver's going to bring in Kessler Edwards, they still, need a backup point guard realistically, or if they're going to bring in somebody else, the best option for Kessler Edwards being a Denver Nugget next year is if they go ahead and buy out and get rid of Hunter Tyson and bring in Edwards as the third string, small forward, fourth string power forward, wherever he may be on the roster at that point, just because Tyson's not going to be needed. They're not going to play him. Realistically, he's going to do nothing for this Denver team. And I think that even now he's doing nothing for the Denver team. But that also opens up a spot to bring in a backup ball handler for a vet minimum. Somebody I talked about, DeLon Wright, a guy that's going to take a minimum just to be on a team. Russell Westbrook is obviously a guy I would love to see come back. It doesn't it's probably not possible because right now, not that they're lacking the ball handling off the bench, but you're lacking a primary playmaker. I know that Bruce Brown's going to be the guy who's going to be that one off the bench, but I would like to see somebody with him to split the point guard minutes. I know I covered Julian Strawther being that guy. So let's see, I guess, what the main goal is for this Denver management when it comes to what's going to happen with Kessler Edwards and what's going to happen with their backup point guard role. Now, like I said, Julian Strawther is going to be a guy that is going to make an impact when it comes to ball handling off the bench, and somebody who I'm super excited to see. And the Denver guys, DNVR, they were talking about Strawther, and they don't think that he's going to play much, which I do understand because you have guys like Bruce, you have guys like Timmy Hardaway Jr., you have guys like Peyton Watson who are going to get in there, and they think that Strawther will be the 10th guy, which I wouldn't mind if Denver runs a legit 10-man rotation. But they also spoke about the possibility of Julian Strawther attempting to get traded at the deadline if he does play well. Now, I hate that idea. I am very high on Julian Strawther. I'm sure that you guys know that from how much I've covered him and talked about him this offseason. But I just wouldn't like it. I think that Denver's young core isn't the best in the league right now. Strawther is a guy who has the sparks of, potential that we've seen. He's an offensive fireball. He comes in, and when you need him to be a spark, he was that, especially in the playoffs late when he wasn't getting much opportunity. He came in with almost no opportunity throughout the entire playoffs and lit it up for Denver, helped them win a game against OKC. I would love to keep him on the roster and help him develop. Now, I know he is going to be on a contract year pretty soon, and Denver's going to have to make up their mind on what they want to pay him. I'm sure he's going to want money because he knows that he's a good player, but I wouldn't mind paying him. Now, I don't think it's in Denver's best interest to trade for another, 30-year-old guy unless it's somebody who's going to be in the league for another 10 years and get rid of a guy like Strawther who you can give a 4 or 5 year contract to. He's going to be a spark for you, especially while he's around Jokic, and he's a young talent. I don't think that it makes sense to go ahead and trade your young core when your young core is already not the best. You don't have the picks to back it up right now. So, like I said, unless you're getting somebody that's 25, 26, 27 for Strawther, I don't think it's the best idea in my opinion. He is somebody I'd want to keep around. I want to keep around CB as well, and you have Duran, and then you have Watson, and those are the only really young guys who have gotten a chance and proved that they're worth it for Denver. Cam Johnson's 29 or 28. Jamal's up there in age. AG's up there in age. Jokic is up there in age. Not saying they're old, but they don't have the young core that other teams in the league have. So, and you don't have a superstar in the making. Brown is the one guy right now who looks like that guy, and I don't think he's a superstar. So, I don't think it would be in Denver's best interest to trade, Julian Strawther, but that's just my opinion. Now, this last topic is just an update for the entire NBA, and is that the Malik Beasley charges have been dropped, which means that he is officially open to being a free agent this upcoming year. And I would love for Denver to bring him back. Now, do I think they're gonna? Probably not, obviously. But he's going to want some money. He's a guy that I would love for Denver to go ahead and sign. The first update has come out already, and it's that the Pistons want to bring him back. But the other two teams in on him right now are Eastern Conference teams, and that is the Pacers and the Knicks. I think if he is a Knick, that team scares me when it comes to who you'd have to play in the finals. If you were going to the finals this upcoming year, what Eastern Conference team you'd be nervous for. And I think the Knicks would be a very, 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 very good team if they're able to get Malik Beasley with how good he played last year. Then you brought in Yabusele, you have Kolek, you have Jordan Clarkson, you have Cat, you have Brunson, you have Hart, you have OG Anunoby. That team would scare me a lot when it comes to who you'd have to play in the finals. So if Denver's able to actually go ahead and get Malik Beasley, bring him back, let him reunite with not only Jokic, Jamal Murray, but Tim Hardaway Jr. as well, I think it would be a massive pickup for Denver. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. I'm going to attempt to get another episode out for you guys tomorrow, but I cannot promise anything. So please enjoy this episode. Hit that like and subscribe button. I will catch you guys later.